So I'm going to start this video off with a trigger warning. If anyone out there feels that they would be uncomfortable watching a video related to eating disorders or talking about eating disorder topics, please do not continue to watch. Respect yourself and respect your boundaries. I am also going to mention a quick disclaimer to say that I will not be talking about any specific details regarding my eating disorder. There will be no discussion of numbers, so no discussion of weight or calories. This is the way I have chosen to tell this story. If you decide to leave any comments regarding these topics or any derogatory statements regarding eating disorders or myself, your comment will be removed. This is a highly personal subject and I'm going to protect myself and others as much as I can. Okay, so this is part 2 of my eating disorder story. If you want to see part 1, please click the iCards above or check the description down below. This video in particular will focus more on my recovery journey. So my recovery from an eating disorder started when I was 27 years old. I had opened up to my therapist about this secret that I had had since I was 14 years old. At the time, I didn't label it as an eating disorder because I truly believed that it wasn't. What I was doing wasn't a clinically diagnosed problem, it was just something I did. Part of the reason for that is because I never believed, and I still kind of don't believe, that I fit into any category for an eating disorder, and that made me feel like I wasn't sick enough. It wasn't a problem enough for me to actually need help with it, and this meant in my head that I didn't need to stop. It wasn't an actual problem. I just wanted somebody to know because I wanted to be able to talk about it openly. So in saying this, it did take a while for me to actually fully grasp the concept that it was a problem and it was an eating disorder. My therapist had showed me the light, I guess you could say, and actually suggested to me a group therapy that would be beneficial. I went home that night after she shared this with me and I literally just sat down on the couch and told my husband everything. I had never opened up to another human being other than my therapist about this, and it was a scary, scary moment. Luckily, my husband, Ray, is an amazing person and handled it so well. I honestly couldn't have asked for it to go any better. So I started to go to group therapy every single weekend for around 3 months. During this time, I battled so hard with my thoughts. I still desperately wanted to cling on to this secret, this thing that I didn't want anyone to take from me. I wanted to cling on to the fact that I believed it wasn't a problem, it wasn't a big deal, I had a handle on it, so I didn't need to worry about it. It didn't need to be solved or fixed or anything. It was fine. I also kept telling myself that I wasn't as bad as other people. I had it much better than some other people, particularly when I went to group therapy. I didn't believe that my problem really mattered compared to other people's problems, so I was okay. It was okay. And plus, I needed this. I needed this. I had to keep going. I had already come so far, so why would I stop now? One day we were talking in group therapy and a light bulb moment kind of happened. I can't tell you exactly what the discussion was. It just clicked. Something inside my brain just went, oh, I don't really want to live like this anymore. I want to be better and I want to move on with my life. A big part of the reason was wanting to have kids. We were thinking about starting a family and I so didn't want to have kids thinking the way that I thought. I never ever want anyone to think the way that I thought or feel the way that I felt. So I started off wanting to be better for other people, and it gradually over time merged into wanting to be better for myself. I went home that particular day and immediately put away the scales. That was the first step for me. I no longer wanted to think about numbers. I no longer wanted to be controlled by those numbers. I came out with a plan of how I was going to defeat this secret. I slowly started to tell people around me, not many people, not many at all. When I told them though, I definitely tried to make it seem like it was not a big deal and it was just a normal thing to be talking about. So to anyone watching this that I may have told, please don't believe that it was not a big deal for me. It was the biggest deal for me because inside I was screaming, but I wanted to maintain this kind of cool, calm, collected vibe so that I didn't just melt down. One of my biggest fears about coming out with this secret was the after. The fear of how I would be treated. Will they think of me differently after I tell them? Will they constantly ask me questions that I'm not prepared to answer? Will they constantly watch me when I eat or when I choose things off a menu? Will they look at me different when I'm eating or ordering a meal? Will they look at my body different? Will they even believe me? These are just some of the thoughts that I had before I told people, and even after I told people, and even now, to be honest. If you are ever supporting anyone that is recovering from this, I know you're worried, I know you care, and obviously it depends on the situation, but in more cases than not, just being there for the person is 1,000 times more effective than anything else you could do. And making sure that person knows that you're there. Treating them like they are still the same person. Gradually over time, and with a lot of therapy, of course, it got easier. By the time my wedding came around, I was fully recovered and I was so excited to be going on my honeymoon. The period between my wedding and around mid of the next year was like some of the happiest moments of my life. I felt free. I finally had a handle on life. And although there were still those moments of like anxiety and depression, they were probably at the lowest they have been in my life. During this time as well though, I had my miscarriages and then I eventually got pregnant, and getting pregnant was a big trigger. Honestly, if you want me to talk about my pregnancy experiences after having an eating disorder, there's just too much there that I would want to talk about. So please let me know if you want to hear more about that. But I will say one very, very important thing, and that is while I was pregnant with both children, I did not practice any eating disorder habits. And I am extremely proud of myself for that. I would not let myself. I was growing another human being and I would not do that to another human being. After both pregnancies, so the start of last year after I gave birth to Cooper, my brain did this really funny thing where it kind of just started thinking, oh, well, your body's yours again, so you can maybe just start doing it again. And I really, really, really desperately wanted to start again. It didn't make sense, and I didn't and haven't delved back into it again. However, that's what recovery is. It's not a straight line. It's a back and forth, up and down battle. And for a lot of people, including myself, it is a lifelong battle. That does not mean that I will have an eating disorder my whole life or that I will have a meltdown every time there is a trigger. It just means that I will always have this thing in the back of my head that I will use appropriate techniques to deal with. I am not sick like I used to be, however I definitely still struggle. I take longer to order off a menu than other people. This is because my brain is going back and forth between what I want to order and what I should order. Eating out in general is hard because I have so many things going through my brain at once. I have to push aside that thought that everybody is looking at me and judging me while I eat. I don't like the idea of people even looking at me eating, really. It's a very... I've always kind of had that, and I don't know if I will always have that, and I certainly don't have it every single day or every single time I go out, but it is still there in the back of my head. Mornings are definitely the hardest for me because I have to wake up every single day and decide what type of day I'm going to have. It all generally starts with breakfast and then goes from there. Those are just a few of the everyday battles that I face. Some days are easier, some days are harder, some days there are absolutely no triggers, some days there are 100 triggers. I am working on it and I will keep working on it. I am thankful for what it has taught me. I am thankful that it has taught me to be mindful of what other people might be going through or might be feeling. I am grateful that it has actually taught me to think more about food, not in an obsessive way, but in a nutritious and fuel my body type of way. I am thankful that it has taught me how to bring my daughter up in a world that may tell her things like she is not good enough. I am grateful because I will always be there next to her to tell her that she is more than good enough. And I will hopefully be able to teach her the tools to cope with this. And I will do everything in my power to make sure she knows that she is beautiful and strong and capable, and that her body does not define who she is. This story is a big reason, the main reason, that I will not be talking about weight loss on this channel. Thank you for letting me share this part of my life with you. As I have mentioned, it is a highly personal thing, and I never thought that I would be sharing it on a platform like this. I am still me. I am still the person I have always been. This is just a part of my history, and it is a part of who I am, but it doesn't define me, and it definitely doesn't define my future. I will keep fighting, and I will be a better person because of that fight. Thank you all for watching. I love you all. I'll see you next time. Bye.